Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Seventh Rule Star Trek Convention Edition with your stars, Sirach Lofton and Aaron Eisenberg. My name is Ryan T. Husk, and today we are joined by professional wrestler Eric the Smoke Moran.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Awesome.
Doing good. How about you?
I am doing awesome.
So before we get into too much of anything, Eric just dropped the bomb on us that he's a professional wrestler. Please tell us about that or about your history with that.
Well, I was a pro wrestler in during the WWF Attitude Era. I was wrestling for well over 10 years. I worked for a couple different companies, ECW, Dangerous Women of Wrestling.
Dangerous what?
Dangerous Women of Wrestling.
Oh. Dangerous
and
Women
where I was a commissioner on that show, and also NWA Shockwave and Cyberspace Federation. So I've done a couple, and of course the independent circuit as well.
You worked on ECW, huh?
New Jack from the Gangsters. I used to kind of bodyguard him, and he kind of brought me in and trained me. And so when they had one of their major reunion shows here in Philadelphia, I opened up the show, beating the crap out of him. And then
were you a bad guy? Were you a bad guy wrestler or a good guy wrestler?
Who, Jack?
No, you. Were you a good guy wrestler or a bad guy wrestler?
I kind of ride the fence. Sometimes I'm
one of those, huh? You can't pick a side.
It depends on what the smoke is smoking.
There you go.
I think if he's smoking, he's probably not getting in the ring. You guys figure it out. I'm cool, man. I'm cool.
Just chill out, man.
I never wanted to
chill out.
Yeah.
He's just in the ring smoking and he's just holding his hand. I'm good, man.
How long do you have to train to be a wrestler, though?
Basically for me it was like a year. And because I was on the Marine Corps wrestling team when I was in the Marine Corps, basically I already kind of knew what to look for and all that. But then I got properly trained how to take a proper fall, how to take shots and everything. And basically it's a matter of you and your opponent looking out for each other in the ring, and safety is the topmost.
Wait a second.
In the ring.
I'm confused. You said they train you how to fall. I would think.
Yeah, you have to learn.
How to hit. Isn't this real? What do you mean you're looking out for each other? You got to take the other guy down, Smoke.
Sports entertainment. It's sports entertainment. The thing is that with any sport, you have to be able to know how to basically how to take a fall without hurting yourself completely. Like I've taken a lot of falls where I've fallen back and I snapped my neck because almost like a whiplash. So yeah, and so the whole thing is you want to know how to properly fall and everything else. I mean, pretty much once you get the gist of it, you can pretty much go from there and then get in the ring. And it's like it's a soap opera for men with a lot of action.
Right.
It's the best way to describe it.
I think. Well, first of all, Eric, thank you so much for your service, of course, in the Marine Corps. We always appreciate.
Yeah, thank you.
And secondly, I think Vince McMahon said it best. He said, wrestling is an exhibition, not a competition.
Yep.
And so it's true that you guys are out there. Your number one priority and your number 1A priority is the safety of your opponent and the safety of yourself, especially the safety of your opponent, because you're the one that has their life in your hands. If you mess up, if you throw him on his neck, or if you hit them in the wrong place, or if you do something, you are going to ruin their career and their livelihood. Exactly. And so I would imagine the main thing on your mind is don't harm this person for real, or I'm ruining that guy's career and my own.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, there was up to a certain point, I knew that my time was okay, you know what? I'm hitting my late 30s or my mid 30s. And I was like, you know what? It's time for me to do other things and to branch out. And I was already an avid sci-fi fan. I was a geek and a nerd all rolled into one. So basically I was doing a lot of appearances for a lot of Comic-Cons. And the thing was, a lot of people that went to high school and elementary school with me and stuff knew I was always that odd kid that wear costumes and stuff like that. And so here I'm going to a Comic-Con and I'm noticing people in costumes. I'm like, hey, this is something I used to do. And hey, I was a pro wrestler. We all wore costumes in the ring. And so I was able to embrace my geekdom, not only as a pro wrestler, but then ended up reforming that into becoming a cosplayer and one of the more recognized cosplayers out there in the circuit. And I have a lot of fun. And like before cosplay became a household name, before it was commonplace, you know, because when I would wear a costume, people would look at me like, oh, who's this dude? You know, I mean, even going to Star Trek conventions and everything else, they were like, oh, okay, yeah, that's Smoke over there. Yeah, but now it's like, hey, I want to be down with the cool kids because they're all wearing costumes. So for me, it's just that I branched out. Reinvented what I did in the ring, branched out from there. And then, like I said, also with pro wrestling is a form of acting. You're performing in front of a crowd. So that helped my acting side and being able to want to produce my own short films and everything else that comes with that, and having a lot of fun doing that. And one of the things is I love telling my own stories. Like I was an avid Star Trek fan since the age of 4 years old. And so, and my brothers, both my older brothers, especially my oldest brother, got me into Star Trek. So here I am now. I'm at the age where I want to be able to tell my own stories and then be able to do that. And I'm like, you know what? I want to do my own Star Trek series. And my friend Dave and I, Dave Turner and I, we basically were like, let's do our own Star Trek series.
Shout out to Dave Turner.
Yes.
And I think you're leading to that thing that's in your background right now, which is Trek Isolation. Is that right?
Isolation. And also I have one of the uniforms here that was custom made from my buddy John Broughton, who is, let me move the mic here, John Broughton, who is the creator and one of the lead actors for Starship Farragut. We were actually a spinoff of Starship Farragut. And here's the one thing that a lot of people don't realize, and a lot of Star Trek fans are starting to find out, especially the hardcore ones. We, Dave and I, were able to do the one thing that no other Star Trek series or fan series has ever done.
I bet I know what it is.
You want to tell the audience or you want me?
I'll say what it is if you want, but that's only because I was on a panel at Comic-Con a couple years ago, and I actually spoke about that.
Yes.
You guys got somebody that nobody else could get, including CBS and Paramount. You guys got Stan Lee.
Yes.
And
for him to play Admiral and him appearing on both our series and Starship Farragut, because we were going to do this massive big crossover. And basically we have him play an Admiral. And here, like Dave and I just talked about this, we never foreseen this. We wrote this in the script. We never foreseen this, but what happened was, if you watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2, at the end credits, where Stan is talking to the Watcher, and he's like, hey, guys, how am I going to get back, to my Earth and all? There's a line that Stan says within the first vignette of Trek Isolation where he talks about being in a whole new universe was a real experience, and he's glad to be back home. We never figured, like, hey, that's technically when he got stuck with the Watcher and all. One of the other things we got a chance to do, my buddy Chris Cross from Marvel DC Artists.
Wait, what's his name?
Chris Cross.
That's what I thought you said.
Yeah, Chris Cross.
Has a name, Cross Stitch.
He's a Marvel. He's a former Marvel DC comic book artist, and he's doing a lot of great artwork for a lot of independent comics. He took the time to do this piece for us for the series, and having Stan featured in it. And Stan gave his blessings. And like, if you're lucky out there and you catch it on eBay, we have like the stamp of approval from Stan Lee himself, signed signatures, signed posters from Stan. So here's one of those rare Star Trek posters where you have Stan Lee in uniform.
It's a cool poster.
So yeah,
did he like always carry a stamp for that? Like in his pocket to just.
You know what? It was funny because when he was doing the posters, when he was doing the signing, he was just like, "Oh, hey everybody, here's my box, Excelsior," and he would just put his stamp on it and then sign away and all.
So he did have that little stamp that he could walk around with.
That's amazing.
It was like a what do you call it, a hologram stamp. So he had a box where, when he would do signings, he would have that box and he would pull it out. If it was something like with his signature or his artwork or any of his works, he would put his seal of approval. So
there's somebody out there who met him on the street, got an autograph, and he's like, and they went, "You have the stamp? Do you got the stamp? I don't have the stamp. I don't have the stamp." Then okay, sorry.
Yeah, but I will say, even more importantly, Sirach, I can't be the only one that's thought of something completely different when he said he knows crisscross, right?
I mean, crisscross will make you jump.
That's the one. I was like, come on, I can't. I know I'm not the only one here.
Yes,
Yeah, but that was like that's one of his. That's his artist stage name and all. But and everybody would always bust his chops about him because he busts my chops all the time. Hey, smoke! Where there's smoke, there's fire. And I'm like, really? I'm like, okay.
That's what I could be called for your sidekick.
Fire.
Little fire. Little fire.
So, but like I said, having a lot of fun doing track isolation and with the new rules implemented and all, we're going to go in a different direction. But we never forget where we basically set the stage and everything. But like, there's still a Starship Farragut thing they're trying to put together where there's still footage of Stan, other scenes that we have with Stan and stuff like that.
Wow.
So we're hoping, as time goes on, keep your fingers crossed, that we can eventually have the audience and all the fans get a chance to see it. So that was just a little smidgen. If you check out the thing on YouTube, our track isolation series on YouTube, you get a chance to see a little bit of Stan and talking and everything, and then there's something bigger that comes along down the road, which is, a major honor for us. Major honor.
Eric, I want to go backwards to when you said you transitioned from wrestling to cosplaying. What was your first cosplay that you did? When you made that transition, you're like, I'm going to cosplay something. What did you do?
By the way, Aaron and Sirach, my apologies for talking about wrestling that long with Eric, but I'm a closeted wrestling fan myself. I've even written a wrestling script.
Oh, this is who Eric is. This was great.
I was just looking at you guys going like, why are we talking about wrestling?
Oh, no, not at all. I already knew that he was a wrestler. And this is all about who he is. This is
and also a lot of people don't realize The Rock did appear in Voyager. He was.
Yeah. Oh yeah, The Rock. For a second, I thought you said Sir Rock, but you said The Rock.
The different Rock.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't mean to. Go ahead, Eric.
But no, as far as cosplay goes, well, like I said again, before I was wrestling, I was doing the whole costume thing, and eventually, because I was doing a lot of Comic-Con appearances as a pro wrestler, as the Smoke, basically. Because I'm an avid comic book fan anyway, I decided to say, hey, I'm going to start wearing costumes and what have you. And the next thing I know, because I'm such an avid comic book, sci-fi, horror, like the whole pop culture fan, I just started doing costumes. And my very first one that I did at a Comic-Con. Now, mind you, we're not talking about the costumes I did after my wrestling era. But after the wrestling era, my first cosplay I did at a con was the Rocketeer. So I got the actual helmet, the actual Rocketeer helmet. My buddy and I, we built a jetpack. I bought the actual authentic jacket, got the pants, got some boots.
Got a trivia question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just threw that in while you finished that for a trivia question about that. But finish. You got the boots, the rocket.
Yeah, so I did. I remember I was appearing as the Smoke, but then I was wearing my Rocketeer costume, and I was appearing all, here I'm with all these other celebrities, Gil Gerard on one side, and they're looking at me because they're seeing me with the helmet. They didn't, and they're like, Smoke, is that you? So the people that know, and it was funny because some people didn't know, and it was just a lot of fun. So that was my first time really breaking back into doing cosplay, and like I said, I wanted to go big, so I did the Rocketeer, and I always loved the movie, so. That was my first thing. And then the next thing, now we're talking.
Wait, before you go on the next thing, what Star Trek actor was in The Rocketeer?
Let's see.
Oh, there's some trivia.
Let's see.
If I'm remembering correctly, I'm getting older. I make mistakes, but I'm almost positive.
Yeah.
Kate
Mulgrew. I'll let you off the hook.
Oh, man. Aaron, your dad. I mean, Nog's dad.
Max.
I got you on the spot.
Yes, because as a matter of fact, he got killed. He got killed by the big guy.
That's because he ate too many donuts at the craft service table. I tell him, Max, enough with the donuts. But he doesn't listen to me.
I remember when I met Max, I told him how much I loved him in The Rocketeer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm like, oh, that's right. Yeah.
What other big movie was Max Grodenchik in? Do you know? Big one, small role.
Man.
Thor.
What?
Donnie Brasco.
I was going to say The Matrix.
I'll give you a clue. It was something about it has been in the news recently.
Something about Mary.
Think of space. There's something about besides Rumpelstiltskin. Okay, nobody knows. I've stumped everybody.
The moon landing?
Apollo.
Yeah, 13.
Apollo. Ron Howard's. Yeah.
I might show up this year as the Rocketeer at the convention this year.
Oh, that would be cool.
You know what I
That
mean?
was terrible. That was a really
Oh,
bad joke.
I like that.
Thank you. Somebody liked it. Somebody liked it.
So,
Mr. Rocketeer.
Eric, we've only got about a minute or so left, so I do want to make sure to cover Star Trek Las Vegas.
Yes.
You are going this year, right?
Yes, it will be my first time in Vegas and at this particular Star Trek convention for creation. So, yeah, it will be my first time. I will
What other
be.
Star Trek conventions have you been to?
In the past, well, on the East Coast, we had a lot. Back in the mid 80s, late 90s and all. So we had a lot on the East Coast, especially here in Philadelphia. I would attend them. And then after a while, the last time I attended something even close, and it might have been like a smaller version of Creations, was in Cherry Hill in New Jersey. And matter of fact, the last time I saw Aaron, and matter of fact, when I caught up with Avery. So yeah, that was back in maybe, what, Aaron, 4 years ago?
Whatever you say, man. I'm not sure how long ago it was. Well, I wonder, was that when I met Melissa? Because I think the last time I was there was in like 2014, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
That was the last time I was there. And that's when I met Melissa, my wife.
Yes. Matter of fact, yeah, because we all went out to dinner that night.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, with me going to Vegas, it will be my first time. I'm going to be debuting something very, very new that a lot of people are going to be very.
The Rocketeer?
Oh
no, something else.
Oh, something else.
It's something track related, but trust me, Aaron. I think you're definitely going to like when you see me.
You're gonna be Little Rabbit from Avengers. Little Rabbit.
No, he's going to cosplay as Nog. He's going to show up as Nog. Your dream is coming true.
Can you picture a big, humongous
raccoon, or
like,
Ferengi?
Yes, I'm the captain.
There's gotta be larger Ferengi than 5'6". There's gotta be some anomalies from our normal culture of short creatures. There have to be.
I never see. You know, and that's the one thing on the series. I never saw a big Ferengi. I never saw.
Yeah, they've got to be out there. They're out there somewhere. We
Ferengi on steroids.
don't talk about them very much, though. we keep them on the fringes of Ferenginar. We're very cruel like that.
So first time in Vegas, period, huh?
Yes, it's gonna be my first time. So, and I'm bringing a couple more costumes, and everything else. But it'll be my first time. So to be able to be engaging with the fans, a lot of the cosplayers out there, I'm really looking forward. And of course, all you guys out there that are going to be out there and stuff. But I'm looking forward to it. It's like my getaway of getaways. I've been planning this out for the last 6-7 months. Yeah. So this year I was like, I'm going this year. Nothing is going to stop me to go this year. And
nothing.
Like I said, I'm looking forward to it. Very much looking forward to it.
Nothing is going to stop us now. That's a Starship.
Well, the funny thing is the costume that I'm going to be debuting is a costume that's 2 years in the making.
Give us a clue.
It's a Star Trek costume.
There you go. Thank you.
That's a wee clue. Don't listen to him.
All right, here it is. It'll narrow down. The new costume is based around D Space Nine.
Oh.
Tusk.
No. I know what it is.
That's a good one.
I know what it is.
I haven't seen anybody cosplay as Tusk.
Well, we got to run, guys. I've seen some Tusk cosplayers. Tusk players, yeah. And some Hunter costumes.
Dobble Girl. You're going to come as a Dobble Girl.
No. Don't do that.
All right. Well, we do have to run. We're out of time, Eric. But thank you so much for joining us. We very much look forward to your first Star Trek Las Vegas convention. I could have sworn you'd come other times, but I guess I've seen you at other conventions or
yeah. Oh, one more thing, because I know you guys normally ask this on the show, but I'm going to just tell you right now, D Space Nine. So you're going to ask me what's my favorite?
Oh, yeah.
D Space Nine. For so many reasons, on a personal reasons. As Sirach, you already kind of know, for personal reasons, but that show meant so much to me on so many different levels. And as a single dad growing up in the 90s, early 90s, raising my daughter, that had such a profound effect on me on so many levels and all. And the dynamics between you and Avery always blew me away. And then the evolution of Nog and all the stuff he went through and at the end and all, how everyone basically all the characters and how they developed throughout. And it was more episodic to me. I've said this 1,000 times, how much I love. That's not taking away anything from the other Star Trek shows. I love them just as much.
Of course.
Deep Space Nine, it's my top. It's my top.
You know what that tells us, Eric? That tells us that you have to come back and tell us all about it some other time.
That is true, because I'd like to talk about that a little bit more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know we want to hear about that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Most
We'd
definitely.
have to go. We'd go a little bit longer with that and hear that, but.
Yeah, so we'll definitely bring you back so you can tell Sirach and Aaron how amazing they are and were back then as well. But until then, we'll see you in Vegas. For Aaron Eisenberg, for the Sirocketeer, for Eric the Smoke Moran, or Eric Smoke Moran, I'm Ryan T. Husk. Thank you so much, and always remember the 7th rule.